Woo, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. This is Pamela, and you are watching Pam Entertainment TV, where we review movies, television series, and incidents in pop culture just to see if those incidents may or may not affect our daily lives. Listen, I told you I was coming back. I told you I was coming back after I watched episodes 4 through 7 of Swarm. Can I tell y'all I am confusion? I am total confusion. Let's just get into it. Let me just give some quick thing. Please like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. If when you subscribe, you are then opened up to a plethora of playlists, which will show you all the movies, television series, and pop culture chats that I have done. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So let's get into this. You could tell, look, I done pulled my hair back up. This is bed. I'm almost bed ready here. But I wanted to go ahead and make this video and go over those episodes. And then I will feel some peace, child. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. So we're reviewing Swarm, and Swarm is is currently out on Amazon Prime. It's 7 episodes, and you can see in the little slide that I've presented. These are the last 4 episodes. If you want to see the first 3 episodes of my reaction and recap to the first 3 episodes, just go to the last video. It will be there. Yeah. This young lady right here that you see right here, Miss Dominique Fishback. Lord, she played. Oh Lord, she had me believing it. Let's get into it. Let's get into it because you've seen my recap of the first three episodes, and like I said, in them first 3 episodes, everybody was dying and killing. Anybody that came in contact with her was dying and killing. And child, it was no difference, honey. Uh, episode 4, because everything centers around Nija. She has to go see Nija. She has to go see Nija. She has to go see Nija. In episode 4, she runs into this you would call it a hippie cult. It's more of like I had the word. It's like white women cosplaying as like a healing therapy situation. And it didn't seem like that. It just seems like there was just one woman just controlling everything. She wanted to be in control because everyone seemed to be stuck there. But anyway, Dre is like I said, she's following Nija around trying to get into concerts, and apparently Nija is playing this festival. So she figures that she can get into this festival by hopping the fence. But she runs into the police officer. Now, remember, she's got blood and everything because everywhere she goes, she kills somebody, she gets a new car. If they tell her, because her biggest impetus of killing, what sparked her killing spree was when her sister died. Her sister committed suicide. And then she felt like the reason why her sister committed suicide is because her sister's boyfriend Khalid uh cheated on her or did something. So that was her first kill? That was her first kill. That was her first kill. I believe that was her first kill. Seemed like she killed in between there, but I believe that was her first kill. And then it's just like whatever snap. So killing didn't seem to be a big issue to her because her thing was uh belonging. And if you talked about Nija, then she had a problem. And we'll go through there. So in episode 4, she's running scared because, like I said, she's got a lot of murders on her under her belt. She runs into, like I said, the police officer stopped her, and she realized she had blood in the car, so she covered the blood up. But for some reason, this police officer wanted to follow her to the festival. and she ended up stopping at a gas station. And when she stopped at the gas station, she met this woman named Cricket. And Cricket kind of helped her out by going to the police officer and saying, "Hey, I know you're following this black woman around, and that looks like harassment." So Cricket invites her to stay with her and the women that are in this home. Child, you got, I can't think of what the head lady name was. I'll get it in a minute. But baby, they was in there. This head woman was pulling tricks and stunts and stuff like that, using therapy techniques and stuff like that, clicks and stuff. She was doing all kinds of stuff, and she figured out that Dre had done some stuff. And towards the end of it, she kind of threatened Dre and said, "I know what you've done." I'm not really sure if she actually knew what Dre did, but she may have, because I think she was hypnotizing Dre. And I think every time she did that little click she did with her hand, she was hypnotizing Dre. And Dre was telling her all this kind of information, because when Dre got there, she kept saying that her name was Kayla. And she was good up until a point of saying that her name was Kayla. And she started, after a while, she started letting the one woman know, the head woman know, that her name was Dre. Now, remember when I told you this, Dre's mission was to get to this festival. So I think I don't know when the festival was going to happen, but it was going to be days. And I don't know how long she stayed at that. I don't know how long she stayed at that house. But when she realized that night that she started hearing music, because well, let me just stop back. They went through a whole lot of different things, a lot of different therapies and hikes and all kinds of stuff that this woman was doing with her, and kind of got her to lose track of time. And she also got her to get off her phone, because you remember I told you Dre was so into reading the phone and reading the messages and all this other stuff about the phone, that that was her whole thing. She lived pretty much online. She got her off the phone, and someone, while she was asleep, took her phone. Now, you let me tell it. I think that they were drugging her, because Dre wasn't used to sleeping good at night, but she all of a sudden was sleeping good that while she was there. Longest story short, after one of the hikes and one of the retreats, it was in the middle of the night, and so Dre started hearing music, and she was like, "What is that?" And I don't know if she heard Nija singing, but she started hearing music. And then she realized she had lost track of time, and she had been there so long that the concert had started. And those women knew that the concert was started. They knew that she wanted to get to the concert. But honey, they had it in their mind that they were going to treat her and free her. Get my quotes over here. They were going to treat and free her from this mindset or this addiction of her needing to be in her phone and being so fixated about her phone. But in the therapy thing, which was interesting to me, she mentioned that she saw her mother, and she apologized for spilling the milk. And you ended up that she spilled some milk, but it was red milk. So something, you realize at that point that something happened in her childhood that she couldn't figure out, or she couldn't do, or something to that effect. Something happened, because that lady pulled something out of her in her therapy session. But anyway, longest story short, they tried to keep that woman away, keep her from going. She got into her car. The head lady threatened her. Said that if she left, she knew everything about her, and she knew what she did, and she was going to call the police on her. Honey, they were all swarming around that car, and the head lady walked in front of the car, and baby Dre ran her over. Bloop, 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 bloop. Bloop, 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 bloop. The other girl started freaking out, honey. She took the car door and kept slamming it open and shut, opening and shut. She killed that girl like that. The other woman jumped on the car and was screaming and hollering and all that other stuff. Child, Dre got out of that car and beat her down with the what is that thing in the car for your tires? The wrench, tire wrench, whatever that's called. I know this. It's not crowbar. Is it a crowbar? It may be crowbar. Well, anyway, she beat her down till she was dead, and she drove off. And then she drove to the festival. And when she got there, they told her, it's over with. It's the last showing is over with. So she's sick. She is just extremely, extremely sick about that. So that was that episode. So let's get to show you the thing. So episode number 5 is called Girl Bye. Now in this episode, it starts off with her phone, because you remember, not only did she have her phone, she had Marissa's phone. Marissa's phone got cut off. And she went into the AT&T store, Verizon store, whatever store she went into, and she was trying to get the phone cut back on. And the guy at the thing, he says, listen, he says, the phone has been cut off, and guy Harris, or whatever his last name was, Mr. Harris, something Harris. She says, you're going to have to talk with them to get the phone cut on. And she was like, I need the phone to work. I need the phone to be on. I need the phone to work. He says, the information that you have in your phone is you're going to have the phone. But she's like, I need for it to work. I guess she needed the network and all that other stuff. He says, you're going to have to talk to them. He says, because they're going to cut the phone off, and they're going to repopulate that number in 10 days. Baby, she was pissed off mad. But she ended up going back to Houston, where she was from. And she broke in and she snuck into this house. And as you see them in the house and stuff like that, I was like, oh, Lord, that looked like Marissa. So I was like, well, Marissa, they was living in the dumps in Houston. And she didn't come from the dumpster, because you remember I told you I couldn't understand why she kept saying it was her sister, and then when she went to the funeral, they wouldn't allow for her to stay. This is why. She was the foster sister of Marissa. And baby, she went back to her foster home because she was going to try to get Marissa's father to cut the phone back on. Baby, then we started finding out we found out some we didn't find out any information there, but we realized why she was not welcomed at the funeral. Honey, she goes there pulling guns on folks. She pulled a gun on the mama, and the mama was cool as cucumbers. The father came in, a shotgun ablaze, and he told you, I'm from Texas, and I will blow your head off. And I mean, it was like shootout at the OK Corral. He told her, you need to get out of here. He told her, he said, we were at our lowest, and people always say the devil gets you when you're at your highest, but the devil will creep in at your lowest. And we let the devil in our house. And honey, she was just looking, baby. That was the first time I ever really, really saw fear in her eyes, because she, how she'd been killing folks and doing all kinds of stuff. That man wasn't playing with her. The mama, I don't know where the mama went. Because this girl right here, Dre, ran up into to her room, up into the attic or whatever, and she saw all the tickets and stuff from Marissa and everything like that, and he was shooting through the door, and baby, she had to jump out that window, the 2-story window, baby. I don't think she broke her leg, but she severely sprained it. And she had to think, because he was shooting at her and told her, don't ever come back. Don't you ever come back. And then it hit me. This is why she's so clicked on with Nyjah, because Nyjah reminded her of a happy time in her life. And it reminded her of Marissa. A happy time in her life, and she reminded her of Marissa. And that was an interesting thing for her. So then that's that episode. We get to episode 6. Shooketh. Because was this a true story? Because I saw the little thing on, I saw the little blurb at the beginning, and I was like, okay, that's just Danny Glover them being funny. But it wasn't, because we had this police officer from Memphis, and then we started seeing the actual true people. We started seeing, and then I was like, I wonder, is this a parody of something, or is this a real life true story? What is going on? Baby, Baby, we get the fun down skinny because this police officer, she starts putting connections together, she starts putting things together, and she starts using the internet and going through people's uh Instagram and Facebook posts and stuff like that. So she started getting she started pulling something, and she started saying, I think we have a serial killer, and I think it's connected to Naja. And the old cops, they just want to find somebody, and they go over that same scenario of, it's got to be somebody close. This is the crime of passion. It's got to be somebody close. They had arrested somebody. You remember she did all those killings. You remember she killed the man in the house, and then she killed the woman. All these people who disagreed with or said that they didn't like Naja, and they were trolled. They was online. Come to find out, all those people that she killed were like online trolls. Remember, she was going to folks' houses. Remember, I talked about that in my last video. But she was killing trolls that were talking bad about Naja. But what made the police officer kind of connect the dots, because you remember that time when she tried to kill the tow truck driver? You remember him? And you remember how all those strippers went to jail? But there was one stripper that was telling that there was a fifth person, and she ran off. And so, through her dogged detective skills, she figured out that the stripper Carmen was actually Andrea Green. So she wanted to know who Andrea Green, because the detective who was doing all this, putting things together, her last name was Green. So she started putting things together, and she ended up getting to Marissa's mom. So apparently, Marissa's father had died. Now, I will tell you, this is timed. It goes from, I think, like 2015 up to 2018, 2019, somewhere up in there. So we're talking about a 4 or 5 year span. So it was 2016 when she confronted Mr. Harris, Mr. and Mrs. Harris, Mr. and Mrs. Green. And now it's 2019. No, Mr. and Mrs. Harris. And then it's 2019 that Detective Green has started to go back. Then we find out about the spilling of the milk. Baby. We find out that Andrea was a foster child. The Harrises took her in as a foster child. And when they took her in a foster child, she had really, really bonded with Marissa. Marissa was happy because of the fact that she had a sister. And so that was a happy time for Andrea. Come to find out that the kids would pick at her or whatever. It would all be a whole big old thing. But she was so in love with Marissa and protective and obsessive with Marissa that she didn't want anybody else to be around her, to be mean to her or anything like that. And it was very intense. You remember I told you it was almost like a sisterly, girlfriendy type situation, but without the sex. It was real intense. And that's basically how the mother had explained it. She said that the father didn't understand that. And he thought that she was trying to, I guess, have sex with Marissa or something. But it really wasn't that. It's just that she was very, very obsessive. It was a very obsessive connection because she probably had been stripped of her connections. We never did find out how she came into foster care, but eventually, reason why the Harrises got rid of her was the fact that Marissa had a slumber party for her birthday, and so this is being told by the girl that Dre attacked. She said that they had a slumber party for Marissa's birthday, and they said that they have a little ritual that when it's somebody's birthday, or that they're hosting the slumber party, they get slumbered, and that just means that everybody kind of just piles up on top of her. Happy birthday! Hey, thank you for being the host. Andrea didn't understand that. She thought that they were trying to hurt her. And she said the girl, well, I'm gonna call her head cheerleader because I don't remember what her name was, but head cheerleader said that Andrea pulled her hair got on top of her and started choking her and choking her and choking her. And they said it was Mr. Harris that got off of her. And then she did like this and she showed this scar. She said, I did not realize it until they pulled her up off me that she had stabbed me with the kitchen knife. And that was the milk that was spilled. Now I'm sitting through this episode like, dadgummit, is this true or not? What is going on? Because, like, you have Dominique Fishback playing Dre, but you have all these other characters and things like that that are showing like they're real life people. And I was like, I am confusion. Is this girl still out here running around? What is going on? So then we get into the final and the last episode. And basically we pick back up with Dre. And like I said, it's like 2019 and she's living in Atlanta. Now, she's going by Tony. The detective found out that she's going by Tony now. And she's cut her hair off and she cuts her hair off. She looks like a boy. And she runs into these two people coming out of a club. And one of them is pissy drunk, and the other one was the roommate. So she ends up falling in love with the roommate. She ends up meeting the roommate's family and everything like that. They hit it off and everything like that. The cops are still trying to chase her because they keep finding the cars that she's been sleeping in and moving in. They keep finding the car and they keep raiding the cars, and she keeps killing and getting another car, getting people's credit cards and all kinds of stuff like that. So that's the life that she has been living since she left Houston. So we get towards they just go over them to being in life. So apparently she has been living with the roommate for about a year. And so the roommate is kind of like just kind of fed up with her now because they've been in a relationship for a year. And basically Dre has been her simple self. All she talks about is Naija this and Naija that, Naija this and Naija that. She wants to do Naija this and Naija that. And the roommate comes home and she says she has a headache, but she has some work and stuff to do. And so Dre is just sitting there. And I mean, when you look at her face, honey, you would have thought that Dre was so excited. Come to find out, she's excited because she done spent $4,300 on some Naija tickets. She done spent $4,300 on some Naija tickets. And she thought the roommate was going to be all excited and wanting to go to this Naija concert. And the roommate was like, I told you in the beginning, and I meant to say this. When she met the roommate told her, I'm not into Naija. And then when you meet the roommate's parents, they're into jazz. They're into a whole lot of stuff like that. They peace, love, and unity and stuff like that. So of course she wouldn't be interested in that music because she's had a deeper connection through her folks with jazz and R&B and everything like that. So Naija wouldn't be anybody that she would be interested in, and she's told her that. And baby, I don't know I was so upset. I was like, baby, don't talk to her like this because that girl. I said, you don't know that girl is unhinged. And she started telling her, like, she took the tickets, she folded them up, and she put them in her pocket. And she says, I'm not going to no Naija concert. She says, you spent $4,300 to go to a Naija concert. She said, do you realize I had to go to my parents and ask for money so that we can make our rent because you can't keep a job, but you can spend money on Naija products and all kinds of stuff. Anything she's selling, you buy all this other stuff. They just went back. I was feeling it. I thought her and the roommate was going to fight. Baby, she choked that roommate down she choked her. And then while she was choking her, she was like, I loved you. You know I loved you. I just wanted to share Naija with you, and you didn't want to share Naija with me. And then she's laid there with the body, just like she did with Marissa. You remember that, Marissa killed herself, and she laid there with the body. And then she wrapped the body up, took the body out to the wilderness, and burned the body. and was standing there while the body was burning, and then looked at her watch and realized she needed to get to the Niger concert. But here's the kicker. She left the Niger tickets in the girl's pocket, so the Niger tickets done burnt up. So she gets up to the ticket place, trying to get in and everything like that. You know, just you could just her eyes are all bulging. I'm sorry, Miss Dominique played that role. I'm sorry, she was just acting. So then she went to some scalpers. You know, they had purchased some tickets for $100, and they'll sell them for $4,000 and $5,000. So she told him, she says, "I'll buy the tickets from you." So she goes back to the car with him, and he tells her, "Oh, it's gonna be I think he said it was like 2,500." Child, she looked like she stabbed that man 25 times. Took them tickets and went inside. Went inside to this concert. As she went inside to this concert, she ended up going up on stage. They were about to take her off the stage and everything like that. Then all of a sudden, you hear Nigel say, "Stop." And she said, "Talk to the people." And so I don't know what happened. It just seemed weird. I don't know if this is something that was going on in her head or not. Because we didn't see no more of Detective Green. Detective Green didn't show up or anything like that. But at the end of Detective Green's episode, which was episode 6, Falling Through the Cracks, they said that they had her in jail. So I'm assuming that because she did say that they had her in jail for going up on stage at a concert. So this is must have been what happened. This and Detective Green was trying to get there. Uh she got on stage and she saw Nija, but when she went into the car, and so here's the way I'm thinking. When she went up on stage and she saw Nija, she just started hallucinating. And so while the police were taking her back to the thing, she's just kind of hallucinated that that Nigel was taking her to the car, uh, 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 escorting her to the car, and got into the car with her. But when she got into the car, you know, she was all happy and she was leaning all against her. But when you looked at Nigel's face, it looked like a mishmash of Marissa's face, the roommate's face, in somebody else's face. It looked like a mishmash of everybody's face, and she was just like, looked like she was just so in love and she was in heaven, and she was just crying. But she looked like it was just like she was tired. She didn't got caught, she was tired. So I couldn't tell if she got into a police car. It looked like she got into an SUV. I think she was hallucinating that she got into an SUV with Naja, but in actuality she got into a police car. But and she was thinking that the woman who was sitting with her, sitting next to her, was Naja. But honey, it went off. And that's how they left us, y'all. That's how they left us. These 7 episodes. So mm-mm, mm-mm. Shooketh is all I'm gonna say. Did I enjoy this series? I absolutely enjoyed it. I didn't, you know, it was a lot of killing, it was a lot of stuff, but it reminded me of Atlanta. It gave me those twists and turns like Atlanta did, with some of the surrealism and stuff like that, and then just the I don't even have the words for it right now. I enjoyed this series. Um, I think I think Dominique did a really good job, because she carried the series all the way through. She was the only star that was from the first episode all the way to the last episode. So she carried that episode. It's an interesting story. I'm wondering if it's true or not. I'm not gonna look it up because I don't know where that girl is at. I don't know if she's still out there or not. I don't know nothing. And I'm not trying to figure out that stuff. And I'm not finna do no deep dives in that, honey. But if you watched it, tell me what you think. It was a good binge worthy. It's a good binge worthy type move series. It's 7 episodes. And like I said, I enjoyed it. I didn't think I was going to enjoy it. I am not gonna lie to you all. I went to watch it because they had talked about Chloe Bailey and Damson Idris in this sex scene, and I was like, yeah, Chloe, what are you doing? And then when I went, I had forgotten all about that, honey, because I was so enthralled. Before I knew it, I was in the third episode, and I was shook. So I said, let me get on camera and talk about this thing because this has got me really shook. But I'm glad my curiosity for one thing led me to this, and I watched it all the way through. I would rate the series probably a 3.5 out of 5 stars. It is intriguing. It keeps you wanting to see the next episode because it's like you can't really believe this what you're seeing is true. But it is a microcosm of fandoms. You know, how some fans can be really, really extreme. Now, when you talk about fandoms, the two that come to mind are Nicki Minaj's fan base and Beyonce's fan base. And also, what's been coming up pretty, their fan base, the Lambs. You remember Mariah Carey had the Lambs. Rihanna has the Navy. Who else? I think Cardi has the Barty Gang, and Nicki Minaj is the Barbs, right? I'm not sure, child. It's a whole bunch of stuff, but it is just like it is like what happens if you take somebody in a fandom takes things too far. And this young lady was in the fandom, but her connection to Naija had everything to do with her connection with Marissa, because Naija represented happiness, family, connection, and she got all of that when she was with Marissa. And so with Marissa, she was already a fan. She stayed a fan, but that was her connection to the only family that she had, and then she was kind of stripped away from it. So anybody that said if you were saying something negative about Naija in Dre's head, you were saying something negative about Marissa, and she wasn't going to have that. She killed Khaled because Khaled played her, but she knew Khaled was had played Marissa and had really caused her to sink back into a level of anxiety and depression where she killed herself. So she killed Khaled on the strength of that. So after that, anybody that said anything bad about Naija was saying something bad about Marissa. And like I said, that is an interesting play on how some of these fandoms and some of these people in these fandoms can get extreme, because I know these fandoms and even some people that are even on online. If you're on TikTok, you will know that there are some people on TikTok that will make it their mission to dox you. Some of these fan bases are on the same way. They make it a mission to dox you. They threaten you. They do all kinds of things. And, this just seems like a really big extreme. There's a lot of other extenuating circumstances going on in this young lady's life. But like I said, this was extreme. So went a little longer than I wanted to, but I did 4 episodes. So tell me what you think. Tell me what you thought about this series. If you've seen it, if you haven't seen it, go watch it. Like I said, I didn't want to go do everything in the episode. I just wanted to give you some highlights that you can look for. And tell me what you think. Tell me what you think. Because with Danny Glover, he always has a hidden meaning or a hidden theme and everything. So tell me what you think that was. All right, people. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Let's chop it up down in the comments. When you subscribe, you'll be opened up to a plethora of playlists that I have done with all the videos that I have done reviews for. Okay, so go look through those. Okay, and as always, people, bye bye.